All right, welcome guys. Super excited to have Jason Brown here with Box Programming. He's been a good friend and client for a while, and he's doing super exciting stuff. And we felt like, especially with everything that's happened in the last 10 days, as a gym owner, if you're going to make it during this freeze period where you can't be open, you are going to have to offer something virtually. And Jason is a master programmer. This guy has so much knowledge. He knows every single name of the muscles and all that stuff. It's crazy. So we brought him on because we wanted to talk to him about his experience on the programming side and advice that he can share with you about things you should be aware of on making sure that you're providing good programming to your members so they're actually getting a result during this time period. And who knows, if you pull this off, I know the way I'm looking at it, if we can pull this off, I also now have a potential new revenue stream once I can open up my brick and mortar location. So Jason, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of update about yourself?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on, John. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all you guys do for gym owners, as well as myself. I've been using you guys for, I feel like since the beginning, since I owned a gym and then switched over to box programming. And man, if I didn't have Mandy helping me, like I was just saying before we got on this, I know about programming, writing articles, obviously, but that's kind of where it ends in terms of managing my expenses and things like that. So if I didn't have you guys, I would be in a world of hurt. So thank you guys for all you do.
Yeah.
And, I hope, I kind of wanted to start this off by saying that, we're all in a very precarious position right now with this situation. I'm feeling the same stress that you guys are feeling as gym owners. And one thing I keep coming back to amidst like this ebb and flow of like stress and then feeling motivated for the future is that this is going to create an opportunity for everyone. And I feel like even more so for gym owners, because as a gym owner, there's so many expenses, so many fixed costs that we have to deal with. And sometimes we have to make big changes in our business. And as you guys know, it's not easy to make a change, whether you're increasing your rate or maybe you're decreasing the amount of classes you have. Whatever the case may be, it's hard making those changes. I know I've been through that myself. And this whole situation is, I think, going to be the catalyst for something more profitable for you guys, doing more online training and maybe a way to reduce some of those fixed costs. So, if you're feeling stressed out and you're wondering what's going to happen, just know that this is going to create a bigger opportunity, I think, to really diversify your revenue and be more successful with what you're trying to do, which is, improve people's lives through fitness. So I would try to think of it that way rather than just saying like, wow, this sucks, we're closed, we're going to lose members, whatever the case may be. There's going to be an upside to this. So I would encourage you guys to think about that stuff.
Yeah, on that note too, Jason, I was just reading, one lady was talking about, she's read the suggestions, she's offered the online training, but she just feels like she's in an area that it's not going to work, and she is getting members canceling. Mm-hmm. And so someone else was giving some advice like, yeah, like that's a bummer. It's true. Like you created a brick and mortar and that was a service your members wanted. But don't think that just because your current members don't want online training, that other people don't want it. It's like, maybe now is the time to market that you offer this, because at the end of the day, wherever you are, you don't have an option to go to a brick and mortar location right now.
Right. Exactly.
So while they don't want online training, my members don't want online training, but gosh, we've communicated with them, this is what we're going to try to do so you can still get your fitness goals reached while we're closed. So yeah, I love your message. Let's be optimistic. Let's look for the opportunity in this. And if we have to pivot a little bit and even market, do that. But like fight for your survival, because the world needs fitness professionals. People need to be healthier, and don't give up. Fight for it,
Yeah, 100%. I think, think about the people that might not come to your gym because they're intimidated. They're intimidated by CrossFit. They're maybe just scared of what it would be like to start that process. And think about the people that are very deconditioned, that haven't really done anything. Think about the soreness that they go through when they first start and they do basic things, just basic movement. Those people that might not ever walk in your door might be your new online training client. All right. So think about the total population of people that live in your area. How many people are working out at your gym? You're talking a small fraction of the population in, I would say, really any area for that matter. Getting, increasing the amount of people that you have training with you that are in your given area, I don't think is an unreasonable task. So there might be a whole new demographic that you can reach now that you wouldn't normally have walking through your doors and signing up for OnRamp. So there is definitely some opportunity there. What we're doing right now is we're providing the at-home training for our current clients, and having that mirror our current programming somewhat. Obviously, there are some limitations, but I'm trying to support them the best I can. And again, I'm in this really the same position as everyone else is, as gym owners are right now as well. So we're trying to add value and to make sure that we're helping our clients help their clients be successful. And I think the bigger part of that is keeping people engaged, having something that is going to keep them accountable. And that's always a challenge we face. But now that's going to really be put to the test because you don't have the ability to see them face to face every day. So one of the things that we've talked about is, creating some type of challenge. A lot of my clients are creating challenges in your private Facebook group. It might be something as simple as, people logging the results, posting videos of their training. I know a lot of you guys are doing Zoom classes right now. And there are, a number of things that you guys can do with that. So I think the accountability piece is first and foremost. As far as getting your online programming going, do you want to delve into that right now, or?
Yeah, go for it. So, there's definitely a few things we want to talk about. We want to talk about what you suggest, the type of equipment that someone can use, anything that you've seen that helps the owners and their coaches optimize the training experience for their members. You kind of mentioned the challenges, but I'd love to talk a little bit more too about other ways to engage our members during this time period. And then just overall, we have you, so we should hear about philosophy. I know that there's a lot of crazy stuff out there where people just like doing things without understanding the science, and you understand the science. Right. So anything you can share there as far as, hey, when you're programming, just some tips to look out for. So feel free to take it from there.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. So what I did yesterday, guys, is I kind of whiteboarded this out. What do you need to do to start online programming and be successful with it? And really kind of narrowed that down to the bare bones list. We posted it on our social media, so you can check out the video. It's on my personal Facebook page, and I've narrowed it down to really a list of 5 things before you start writing any workouts or going crazy. The first thing you need to do is have some software, and using spreadsheets. I did it for years. Actually, I did it for too long, let's put it that way. And it's not an efficient way of writing programming for a number of reasons. Number one is you can't embed videos in a spreadsheet and have it be effective where it's not going to eat up a ton of your time. So using some type of software, we use TrueCoach. I wish I started using TrueCoach a long time ago because it is so efficient and it integrates all of the pieces of our puzzle, makes it easier to program. It makes it more effective. People can track results. So there's a number of benefits with using a piece of software like that, like the accountability. I can see people post the results real time. I can see people post videos. I can answer people's questions. So again, we're talking about adding value. Why is someone going to continue to pay you? Well, having something that's state of the art like TrueCoach will add value. It is an unbelievable service. It's the best piece of software I've ever used for delivering programming. And if you have something like that where it's on their handheld, they can track the results, they can see the videos embedded right into the programming, it eliminates any guesswork. People know exactly what they're doing, and they're able to get into their training session and have things work out pretty effectively. So that would be your first thing that I would consider. If you guys are already using something, you're using like Trainerize or TrueCoach, then you're already ahead of the game. And this will be a lot easier for you to deliver. I know a lot of people are already a close friend of mine, she owns a local, it's like a CrossFit gym for women. I told her about True Coach like 3 months ago. She started using it just kind of for a couple people, but just having had used it and had, her videos and everything in it, she was kind of off and running with all this hit. So she didn't incur the same losses that a lot of people are seeing, because it was like, okay, hey, you want to train from home? Here's our app. Download the True Coach app, accept the invitation. I'll assign you programming. And then if you need me to make adjustments to the programming based off of what you have available, we can go ahead and do that. And it's going to be very easy. So that's the first thing I would do if you're just starting off online programming. Find something you like. Like I said, I use True Coach. I love it. I know there are other options that you have. Go with whatever you feel works best for you. Second thing is you need to build out the pieces of your programming. So, writing things like warm-ups and cool downs, having those built into your app where you're not writing that stuff from scratch every time. This is going to allow you to be more efficient. It's going to allow you to do the work ahead of time and not have to repeat that work over and over. You can write 50 or 60 different warm-ups and cool down, have those in your library, and then pull from them. So if you're doing a lower body intensive day, we have a squat-based warm-up that has all of our pieces, our warm-up, our corrective, our activation drills, our CNS drills, whatever the case may be, you can integrate all those right in there. So that's going to be huge, save you tons of time. I couldn't even tell you how much time just having that piece of it for me saves. It's a lot.
And well, I love the idea that you can have so many and you just plug them in. I remember when I first bought into CrossFit GSL, there was a coach and she was kind of in charge of the programming. It doesn't matter what we were doing for the day. Mm-hmm. It was like the same warm up.
Yeah.
And as a member, we got so bored with it. So it became to this point, it's like, I don't even want to warm up because I'm so tired of doing the same 5 things in the warm up, regardless of what we're doing. So that's really cool that you can plan 50, because I can tell you from a member's experience, they want more than just one type of warm up.
Yes. And I will say, so I'm kind of in the middle on that. I believe in, having a library of warm-ups and then pulling from those. I don't believe you should recreate the wheel every time, because there are certain things that we can do in our warm-up that needs to be repeated. People need to do bird dogs. You guys might be laughing, think it sounds silly. So many people can't do a bird dog correctly. If I came into your gym right now, I could find at least 20 people that could not do a bird dog correctly. It's contralateral movement. It's it's a corrective everyone should be doing anytime you're squatting or deadlifting. Bird dog should be in there. And, we could go hog wild getting into like what correctives should be in your warm up. But what I will say is that there are some things that you will be valuable to repeat. Those certain correctives, like a bird dog, a thoracic rotation, go down the list of a lot of different things. Those things you could do on the regular. And the regular, I mean, a few times a week. It doesn't have to be daily. Mixing in fun warm-ups, just a standard dynamic warm-up, that stuff should be in there as well. And again, to change it up and to keep people like yourself engaged where, if you're doing the same 5 things every day, that is going to get old. No one wants to.
Well, it probably depends too on like what the actual workout is related around. Like, why am I warming up my shoulders if we're just going to do like back squats all day or something? I don't know what the correct thing is, but it's just like, I felt like I warmed up this muscle. Now we're doing this and this muscle isn't warmed.
Well, I couldn't comment on that. That doesn't make sense to me, but it should definitely be relative to what you're doing. If you're squatting, you probably should squat in the warm up. Just saying. If you're pulling, probably pull in the warm up. This isn't rocket science. It's simple stuff. But build that stuff out so you don't have to recreate the wheel every time. From there, movement library. If you guys have been creating content already and shooting videos for different things that you do in your programming, you're ahead of the game. But you got to remember that, someone gets at home and they're trying to access their programming through the app. If they don't have videos embedded, or you don't have a video for a specific thing, then they're going to be asking questions. What is, a bird dog? So having that stuff integrated in there. The good news is True Coach will let you use, you can open your database up to videos they already have, which is awesome because you can use whatever videos. I mean, they have basically a video for everything. So if you haven't shot all your videos just yet, you can use what they have, but I would recommend you shoot videos for everything you plan on doing. You don't need to shoot a 5-minute video either. It can be a 10 to 15 second video. If you're doing, a dumbbell triceps extension, you don't need to talk, well, hey, we're working, long head of the triceps and we're going into a lockout. You don't need to have all the talking points. Show them how to do it, 10 to 15 second video, and move on. Bigger movements, squats, box squats, deadlifts, floor press, overhead press, shoot a longer video, tell them the points of performance. Obviously tell them certain faults that they might see with themselves. So they're able to know what they're actually doing in a given session. And that stuff will be a lot easier. It'll build a little bit more value, give them some accountability on what they're doing on any given day. So that would be your next step. So just to recap, got to get software, number one. Number two, we need to build our pieces out ahead of time. Warm-ups, cool downs, those are easy things. Third thing is creating your movement library. And honestly, you guys are all home right now. This is stuff like you could do pretty quickly. In a week's time, you could have all this stuff basically good to go. Then from there, that's when we start writing our programming. We start the accountability piece. We make sure that people are tracking their results, which again, if you're using an app, you should be able to track those results right in there. They can post their comments, their results. You can see that stuff real time. I check in with all of our individuals. We have about 100 people on an individual service right now. So I can go through and see everything everyone's doing. So people will take pictures of like their setup. It might be like bands for a box squat, and they'll take a picture of it and I'll say, oh, okay, that's going to work, or it isn't. So there's a lot of like little cool added benefits. Like they're getting some value for what they're paying.
Hey, so I was going to ask, when you have someone sign up, do you give them like, here is the recommended equipment that you're going to need for the way we program?
Yeah. So two of our services have, they're basically, I wouldn't say minimalist. You do need a squat rack. You would need obviously a barbell bumper plates. And these were before all of this, the coronavirus stuff. But we have a service now that's a minimalist training plan. It's basically a dumbbell, bands, jump rope, and that's it. So very, very basic. We do strength work. It's kind of relative to the person based off what they have available to them. But there are some things that we can do strategically with the actual program design. If we have something like a dumbbell, we can put in some isometrics, some pauses in there. We can make a light load feel heavy. There are ways to do that stuff. So you don't need a lot to go a long way. I know a lot of people now are renting out equipment. Great idea. A light dumbbell, a medium weight dumbbell, a jump rope, and maybe 1 or 2 bands. If you're only giving out 1 band, that's fine. You could just go with a light band, because a light band will basically encompass all of your needs for a whole myriad of exercises. So that's an easy thing to do. And people can buy bands. They're super cheap. Go on Amazon or Elite FTS and buy a set of bands for $25-$30. And then once you guys have that, I mean, you're basically kind of off and running from there. A minimal amount of equipment can do a lot. You can get creative with what you do in your home, but I wouldn't think about really trying to get super sexy with your programming. And I will say the biggest mistake I already see, even with myself trying to help my clients right now, is programming burpees too often. Okay. 100 burpees here, 100 burpees here. I get it. It's going to give you a good workout. No one wants to do 100 burpees multiple times a week. So, there are other versions of that, an up down, or maybe we do just something from, a plank position that's going to kind of simulate a similar anatomical position. But I would try to stay away from doing burpees more than twice a week. That's just going to be tough. Got to get a little bit more creative than that if you want to keep people continuing doing.
So not go super sexy, but don't go super like atrocious.
Yeah. I mean, if you go on YouTube, you can find like a million different bodyweight exercises. A lot of them are not as common to CrossFit. I mean, there are actually a lot of them aren't really that common to me. I don't program a shit ton of bodyweight exercises, the basics really. But again, you can do it a little bit more strategically if you're kind of throwing in some pauses or you're throwing in some isometric holds. Isometrics work. Again, they're not sexy. Doing a static hold and trying to use an irradiation effect doesn't look sexy. Actually, it looks like you're trying to take a poop basically. So, that stuff is all things that we have at our disposal, but I would worry less about like what your actual programming is. And I would worry more about just getting set up and having some accountability with your clients. That's a better place to start.
Yeah. So on that accountability thing, you mentioned the challenge. Have you seen other good ways to be accountable? I know you mentioned your app allows you to comment and stuff like that, but any other thing?
Not that I can think of. I know there was some discussion going in our private Facebook group about different things that people are trying to do. But I still think we're still kind of early in the going to this. I'm sure that people are going to come up with some great ideas, and I was never good at coming up with ideas for that, but I think that there are some people that will be able to come up with some good ideas of ways to keep people accountable. For me, it's more just like the data, being data driven, keeping track of their workouts and logging their workouts. Because if you use an app like TrueCoach, it tells you when you missed a workout, which there is some psychology to that. I get an email if I miss a workout, and I use TrueCoach for my own programming. So I get an email saying I missed today's workout. It's kind of like, shit, I missed today's workout. So I think just that alone can really have a huge effect on the people that you're working with.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm actually great with that answer. One, when you talk about doing challenges, I think really whatever ideas you come up with, they're probably gonna fall in that bucket of let's provide a challenge. I've heard bingo cards, which is really a challenge. Like, we're gonna give you a certain amount of movements, we want you to mark them off, you fill out the bingo card, you get a prize. Great, that's a challenge. Push-ups, we're all gonna see who can do 500 push-ups the fastest. I don't know. But it's interesting. It doesn't have to be more complicated than just following up with your members.
Yeah.
If you currently don't have a software that's going to do it for you automatically, which sounds like a great long-term plan because that's a lot less work, send them a text. Hey, did you do the workout today? How are things going? It really, I mean, accountability is nothing more than checking in.
Sure.
And having, because they're going to feel the same way you feel, like, oh, my coach just asked that I did the workout. I did do the workout. Maybe I'll do the workout real fast before I respond to them,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even for myself, like I have a diet coach, and he checks in with me all the time, and I love it because it gets very easy to not track my calories or to not fill out the spreadsheet that I have, for my calorie averages. So I do think that there's a huge value to that. I also think that this is going to be the catalyst for like a hybrid type business. So, I mean, can you guys imagine if you were able to have less classes, but still have the same effect across all of your clients, where maybe you only see certain clients once a week and they come in and it's kind of like, hey, we review what we have for programming. We kind of assess your movement. We obviously put you through a training session. And then, for the other 3 days out of the week, you're doing the programming on your own through the app, or maybe you have open gym hours. So I would start thinking about the future of this. We're not going to be stuck inside forever. I mean, this is going to end sooner than later. And, one thing I always told myself when I was in the military was that the one thing we can't stop is time. So this will be over soon. It sucks right now, but it will be over soon, and we'll have a whole new business in front of us. So I think for me, it would be super advantageous if I had a business that was hybrid, where I got the connection with people and was able to see them in person, but also give them programming where they can do on their own, and they don't have to necessarily adhere to a certain class time or whatever the case may be. So I think that that's going to, that sounds very attractive to me. I would sign up for that service, to be honest. Go see a coach.
The reality
once a week.
is, it's more scalable as well than a brick and mortar. Like, if you have a brick and mortar, the more members you get, now you're worried about, how am I totally utilizing my space the right way? I need to get bigger space, all that stuff. Online training, it is more scalable.
Definitely. I mean, these are things that I wish I knew about, 6, 7 years ago when, we started off in a 2,000 square foot spot and then we moved to a 6,000 square foot spot. We thought we were doing better and on the path to being more successful, but it actually, in reality, we were better off in the smaller space. Now, looking back on it, I'm like, if we stayed in the smaller space, we would have been much better off because our overhead, tripled going to a bigger space. So I think the prospect of having a smaller space and then hybrid membership, I think that there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, totally. So I know one question, last question for sure that I have, I want to get your advice on. What can you share with the gym owners? How do they make sure their members are getting results virtually?
So this is the thing, is that we all want to do body weight conditioning. All right. We still need to do strength training, and there are ways to do it. I would recommend you guys check out, if you have a textbook or you even go on, do a search online for isometrics. You can do a lot with isometrics. They've been around forever. It's a proven method of, really improving the muscle's ability to generate force. So we can use isometrics. We can still do, if we have, if you're renting on equipment and people have a dumbbell, we can still do horizontal rowing. We can still do unilateral work. Some of your clients might come back being stronger after this if you do it right, and utilizing things that a lot of CrossFit gyms haven't been utilizing. I see more and more people doing it now, but unilateral work. I mean, we're only as strong as our weakest link. So if we build up where we're weakest, we do that with special exercises, small assistance exercises. People want to get better at pull-ups. You need to build the upper back. You need to do horizontal rowing, really 3 times as much as you do pressing, or 2 times as much as you do vertical pulling. So your pull-ups. So we can strategically do that stuff on a regular basis with something as simple as a dumbbell. We can reprogram the squat with a goblet squat. We can reprogram the squat with a goblet box squat. We can reprogram the hip hinge with an RDL variation using any type of odd object basically between their legs. So, we can really reprogram the body and reset right now and improve motor patterns because we're removing the barbell. So if there's no better time to do that, this is the time where we can utilize all those exercises that people said weren't functional. Guess what? They are functional. That's another debate. I don't want to even get into that, but they're very functional and they're going to help the functional patterns, our big movements, go up. So that's what I would take from this. I would really, you can show people the value of small exercises that don't look as sexy because it's going to help them build specific muscles that may be lagging. So again, goblet, anything, goblet squat, goblet box squat, you can reprogram your unilateral work, teach people how to be more effective using one leg versus, always doing bilateral work. I mean, we could go down the list. I think I have probably 20 articles on assistance exercises. So, that's one way. And then bands are another way. We just posted today an article, 20 different band variations. Bands have the amazing ability to not only improve function, but they also improve tendon health. Tendons, if you guys don't know, there's something called the series elastic component. Basically what that is not to sound too sciencey, but it's the musculotendinosus unit within the tendon that stores elastic energy. So when you lower a squat, you're storing energy. The tendons have elastic ability. And when you increase the amount of elastic ability, it's going to make you more springy. It's going to make your squat go up. It's going to make your Olympic lift go up. So there's a lot to muscles than just, doing direct biceps work. There's a lot of other things that we can capitalize on right now. So bands and unilateral work, those would be the 2 major things that I would work on. And then the last thing would be like the correctives, like we talked about earlier. You can do that stuff. Again, it's not sexy, but it's going to help people move better and, again, reprogram faulty motor patterns that everyone has. There's no one that's sitting around that's perfectly balanced. Everyone has some type of faulty motor pattern.
Yeah, when you're saying that, I remember one of my favorite things that you've ever said was, look, if you think your members' goal is to come into the gym to get their ass kicked, you're wrong. They're coming in to move better. So program workouts so they move better, not just so that they're wiped out and don't want to come back the next day.
Yeah, this like Yuri Verkhoshansky, who is a famous, he wrote the book Super Training, and he's a Russian exercise physiologist who's a legend in the field. If you are looking for some reading, pick up Super Training. It's a 600-page book that has literally everything you could ever imagine about training. I probably learned a fair percentage of what I know from that book. But he said that any idiot can make any idiot tired. And it's true. It really is. And we're not trying to just make people tired. We can do that with 100 burpees a day, which see how long your clients are around if you're doing that. But again, kind of like, tracking back on what we talked about in the beginning, this is an opportunity for your business. It's also an opportunity for your clients to move better, to feel better, to look better. We can do all that stuff with simple things. And we're going back to basically the beginning. Like, hey, we're just going to teach people how to do a single joint exercise. And we're going to show them how that carries over. So, I would expect that if you do that, people can come back to the gym and let's hope a month's time and be better off. Obviously, there are other factors like their diet, and if they're drinking every day and eating Cheetos every day, like I've been eating Cheetos, but I haven't been drinking every day. That's a different story, but there are definitely some benefits to the stuff that we do have right now. So I would take advantage of that.
Tell me the name of that book again.
That's Super Training.
Super Training. Okay. Very cool.
I thought I had it right next to me. It's a reference book. It's not a book that you want to try to read cover to cover. It's a book that you go through the glossary, which is I think 20 pages, and pick out topics you want to learn about. Yeah. And it has them in it. It's a pretty comprehensive book.
No, that's super cool. So let me just summarize kind of what we've talked about in the last 30 minutes. What you've laid out for everybody is basically the gold standard on doing virtual training. Get a software, because in the long run, that's going to save you a crap load of time and provide a better experience to your members because of built-in accountability. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean you don't not to do personal accountability outside of the software, but have that option, because then you program in your workouts, your warm-ups, all those things. You can have the library, which makes it easier for you to go back and forth. You can take the approach of providing minimalistic at-home workouts, or you can go ahead and say, look, these are the workouts we do, and this is the equipment you're going to need, like a squat rack and things like that. This is super awesome. Jason, where can people find out about you? Because I know you do blogs on a lot of stuff you've talked about. Like, it's already out there. They can just read it.
You can go to boxprogramming.com under articles. There's a lot of articles there, like 27 pages worth. So just type in the search bar what exactly you're looking for. My business is it's almost kind of weird to me because I've been on CrossFit and on strength and conditioning, and then kind of more the science side and research. So, for me, there's articles about stuff that will help you as gym owners, but I also write a lot about training. I mean, training is at the end of the day, what I love. So anything we can do to maximize that. And again, those two things that we use on a regular basis. We do band work every week in our programming because it's simple and it's effective. So this is the time to take advantage of all that good stuff.
Yeah, man. Thank you for your time. Guys, if you have any questions, reach out to Jason, reach out to us. We can put you in contact. Thanks again for taking the time. Guys, we wish you the best. Be financially resilient and help your members be, resilient from this cold stuff. They need your fitness to avoid it. So thanks again, guys.
Guys, if you need anything, just reach out. I'm happy to help any way I can. Like I said, we're all in this together. We're all, facing the same struggle right now. And like I said, just kind of look at it as there's going to be an opportunity from this. I think it's going to be very advantageous for gym owners. So hang in there. It'll get better.
Very cool.